Welcome to the detailing show. In the car again? Let's start. Let's begin.
Houston, Tranquility base here. The Eagle has landed.
Yes, sir. Reading you loud and clear. Clear. The clock has started.
The clock has started.
5, 4, 4, 3, 2, 1. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
So welcome to this episode of the Detailing Show. Sorry for the glare, apologies for being in the car. House is full of children and birthdays and stuff, frantic. In this episode of the Detailing Show, we're going to be taking a look at TDG. They released a Halloween wax. It's really rather nice. It's sold out unfortunately now, but have a look and enjoy it anyway. And their pre-wash that they released for Halloween as well, which is a fantastic product. We're going to take a look at those. We're going to look at Gleem Freaks Magma. Now, it's a non-abrasive pre-wax, really nice product, but I'll show you for why in this show as well. We're also going to be taking a look at Klin Korea's Softy series pads. Clever little pads, wonderful things, so we're going to take a look at those as well. Also, we've got the Klin Green Monster in this one. I'm having a retry of this one after being given some advice from Nick from XL Detailing Supplies. And we're going to be taking a look at a homebrewer's wax. This is from Anthony Ascott. He is the man of AA wax fame. He's got a new wax in the making. I think he's got a bit of a rebrand planned. All dead exciting times for him. So we're going to take a look at that as well. We're going to start the show with a look at the Klin bits. So enjoy this, take a look, and ask any questions below as always. I'll see you on the other side of this one. Hey guys, Luke here, Tranquility Based Detailing. So this is everything featured in this episode of the Detailing Show. We're going to start off with the Klin pieces, so that's their Softy pad and their Green Monster wheel cloth towel. Klin, the UK distributor of it is XL Detailing Supplies, and that's run by a guy called Nick. And Nick and I, we speak quite a lot, and he's a man very sort of focused on feedback and whatnot. But they've recently introduced this Softy series. Now, it's not just these pads. It's actually, they've got like a wash mitt and sort of other bits and bobs in there. So it's sort of a new addition. They're essentially upholstered in like a finishing microfiber. So, you know, a really plush, soft type of microfiber. And they're designed, Nick said to me in this case, you know, you can use it as a wash pad for very delicate wheel finishes. You can use it for applying glazes, pre-waxes, things like that. So I've got one in this part for the wheels and one is going to feature in the Gleem Freaks Magma bit. But yeah, what can I tell you about them? They are incredibly soft, you know, essentially sponge upholstered in that material. First thing you notice when you come to use it, particularly in the wheel case instance, is the amount of water it holds is monumental. For such a small thing, it really does hold a lot of fluid. And for something that is aimed at dealing with a delicate wheel finish, having that extra that extra flow of water across the surface is going to help. You know, it's going to be more protective of what you're doing, as opposed to sort of, you know, that drier surface. Obviously, you know, no one likes dry. But yeah, it holds an enormous amount of water for something so very small. I was a little skeptical at first. My initial thoughts were that it was going to be too small and too thick. You know, I was thinking, you know, if it was thinner, it's going to be a little bit more pliable. You know, it's going to be easier to get into some of the smaller places. But it compresses down really well. So with the only exception being this small gap between the spokes on my dad's alloy, it didn't really fuss me so much with anything else. So, you know, it's still straightforward enough to use. And it did a fantastic job. The smaller gaps had to improvise, busted out the Green Monster for the smaller gaps. Now the Green Monster towel, it's labelled as a wheel cleaning towel. Nick gave me a little tip, a little bit of advice, and that was to try it on a tyre and try it for sort of tyre cleaning. So I thought, hey, I'm busting it out, I'll give it a go. What's the worst that can happen? I actually messaged Nick afterwards. I said, I think you should rebrand it as a tyre cleaning towel because it did a really good job. It's got quite a bit of bite to it as a towel goes, as a cloth goes. You know, I do stay on top of my tyre maintenance anyway, so maybe it would be a little bit too much on a heavily soiled tyre. But for this sort of maintenance, looking after your car type of thing that most of us here are going to be doing, it was brilliant for that. I thought it was a fantastic way to use it, and it's one I'd recommend you guys to give a try if not already. In terms of the Softy pads though, can I recommend them? Yeah, I'd say I would. If you do have a delicate wheel finish, I'd say yeah, they're worth getting. They will earn their keep. You're looking at £9 for a pair. We spend more on wheel cleaner, so you shouldn't sort of be put off by that price at all. I think the quality's there to justify it. In terms of the things that can be improved, not so much improved. What I did feedback to Nick, and what I think would be a great thing for Klin to do, was if they expanded the premise. So, this sort of pad premise across their glass shine, their zero finish, all of their other ones. And the reason for that is not everyone is as abled with their hands in detailing. And it makes it really comfortable, really nice in the hand. And I think for a manufacturer to look at things that may be a little bit more aimed at people less abled is a little bit of a niche thing. As sad as that is to say, I think detailing lacks that. And I think Klin and Nick at XL could cater to it. I'll revisit these soon. Back to me in the car. That's all I can tell you for now. Back to me. So I hope you enjoyed that look at the Klin Softy series. Wonderful things. I really do enjoy the Klin stuff. It's fantastically well made. We're going to take a look next at Magma from Gleem Freaks. I've had Gleem Freaks on the program before. This is a pre-wax of theirs, so we're going to give it a run through its paces and see how it fares. So check back after this section, right back here in the car. Enjoy. So, Gleem Freaks Magma. Gleem Freaks we've had on the channel before, a long time ago actually now. Dale of Gleem Freaks, we're talking about this, and it's one of those, obviously he's going to recommend it, it's his product, but he was talking very highly of it, and it had me curious, so we got it on the channel. I've paired it with the Klin pad, like I was just mentioning, these can be used for applying pre-waxes and glazes, things like that. And it does a fantastic job, just the same as it did with the wheels on this one. But yeah, the Gleem Freaks product itself, it's listed as a spray polish. If you go onto their website, it says it leaves a lasting long finish, like a sharp durable finish and all this. But what is it? First of all, polish, for most people, polish would be in the head, it'd be an abrasive. Now this is, in essence, it's a non-abrasive pre-wax cleaner. And what they're for is really just to give the panel a wipe down and get sort of the best, cleanest surface that you can prior to your waxing. Now, why do you need to do that? Really, you don't if, like me, you're waxing every fortnight. However, if you want the best from your wax, and I mean that in terms of the best finish, the best durability, then pre-waxes are a must. They go in sort of hand in hand with all of the other prep stages. So, your decontamination, polishing if you can. And then this would be the final step, just sort of cleaning the panel down before you come to wax. The reason that's important is your wax will be able to bond to something properly. So, like all the other prep, and I've always said prep is key, prep is important. This as a step, you don't see it mentioned as much, although a lot of guys are doing it. But if you're not, introduce a pre-wax into your routine and tell me if you're not converted. Sort of let me know in the comments below. But this one, being non-abrasive, what it tends to do is use sort of a chemical to clean the surface and just sort of get it ready and get it all sort of prepped. What it leaves behind is a very sort of clean prepped paint, and by that I mean it doesn't really leave a gloss. It's it's not laying anything down like a wax will, and the paint just looks very fresh, very clean. So the flake that's in it, if it's there, it still pops, it's still vibrant. The overall finish, the feel of the paint, is slick. You can tell it's just kind of been taken to a stage where it's ready to be waxed on. And you're going to see the TDG review for the wax actually is after I'd prepped with this product, and the same for the Anthony Ascott wax as well. It's all prepped with this. But what it will do is basically it will get the best performance out of it. In terms of the product itself, $9.99 for the bottle. It's got a very punchy orange scent, so I'm a big fan of actually an orange scented product. They work for me. This one, it's almost medicinal orange, and this is going to sound great. I really like it. I don't like sniffing medicines. I don't mean that to sound like a weirdo. I just like the scent on this one. I thought it was nice. It spreads really, really far, really well, particularly, used in conjunction with this type of pad that will hold a lot of material anyway. It hazes pretty quick. You can see it sort of flashing off as you're wiping it around, in all fairness. And then what you have to do is just sort of double back and just buff. It's no different to, a wax or anything like that. And then this is the end result. This is sort of the prepared, the ready to go paint that you get. So as you can see, hopefully, it's sort of caught there. It's not a gloss that a wax would leave. It's just a freshness, a cleanliness to the paint that you want. I'll bring the bottle in just to show you the reflection, just so it's got something to try and latch onto on the autofocus, but you can see the flake in the paint hasn't been muted. It's there. It's, everything that you want sort of from that paint in a perfect condition to be ready to be waxed. So can I recommend it? Absolutely. Should you get some? Yes, blame it on me. Links are below. Back to me in the car. So, and now on to TDG. This is their Halloween special. It's an SiO2 infused wax. Spiced pumpkin scent, naturally. It's a wonderful thing. So I want you to take a look at this. Links for TDG are below. I highly recommend them as a brand. I really like what they do, their ethos, and the quality of the products. Really, really good as well. So I want you to take a look at this and enjoy. You guys knew it wouldn't be long before I got wax back on the show. We had the sprays last week, and sort of 2 sections of not waxing it. First things first, admin on this one. This whole episode was filmed in one day. You can work that out, you can see. But it's been edited a little bit sort of backwards, back and forward. So, I was just using the Gleem Freaks to prep the paint. But this was before we'd even started washing, but after we'd done the wheels. Now, the reason for that is this. TDG, they released over Halloween some limited edition products. The main 2 were basically this wax, which is an SiO2 infused wax from them, and their pre-wash. Now, their pre-wash I've had on the channel before, and I've reviewed it. I'll put the link on the screen there. I really do rate it. I think it's a great product. It's got excellent cleaning ability, and it's got excellent clinging power, and it smells delightful. My one smells like apple and cinnamon pie. It's tremendous. But yeah, what is different about their Halloween one? I've always said, and I've said in sort of episodes prior to this one as well, for the hobbyists, people like, myself, a big part of this is the theatre. It's the enjoyment of doing this. So, it's not just enough anymore if the product works. You want it to sort of have extra details in it. The scent, the presentation, they're all part of that. Now, what have they done with the pre-wash to make it Halloween themed? They have scented it as a spiced pumpkin, and they've turned it into a slime. Check this out. It's amazingly awesome stuff. It does naff all to make it work any better or worse, but it just adds an extra little dimension, an extra little bit to it. And I thought, personally, for me, it was really, really cool. It did mean, and I always do this anyway, it did mean it was a little bit sticky in the measuring cup, when sort of filling it into the bottle. But a couple swills out with the water and you were good to go. It's worth it. Just for the slime effect, it is worth it. The spiced pumpkin scent, it's very aniseedy. I would say that way. It's really, really nice. I actually really like the scents on these. But it's difficult to kind of describe because it's a very American scent, spiced pumpkin. But for us Brits, that's more sort of like that fireball aniseed type of scent, if you're not familiar with what a spiced pumpkin scent is like. Full disclosure on the snow foam. I mentioned this a couple of videos back. My lance needs a strip down. It needs a clean. So it's peeing out this watery foam at the minute. It's nothing to do with the product. It's the lance. I need to sort of strip it down and film a video for you guys and show you sort of what's and whys. But yeah, the product itself, it works. I know it works anyway. I know it worked from the previous reviews. And the main reason I know it works is that I actually bought a second bottle of this. Now, any product, and you guys know, I've a lot of different products to use. Anything where I will invest in a second bottle will tell you that it's worth buying. And for me, I bought a second bottle of their pre-wash, because I do believe in it. The main event, the main part of this TDG section, though, is going to be their wax review. So their wax itself, again, limited run. I can't recommend that you buy it just simply because they're sold out. But if you do see one come up, at least you can kind of base your decision on whether or not you should buy it based on this review if you needed that. But yeah, it was again Halloween themed, Halloween scented, pumpkin scented, to tie along with the pre-wash. And again, very, very nice in the scent. The pour on it was very, very good. You know, very smooth pour. You know, sort of in the tub, it looked brilliant. It looked professional. I got the non-standard pot of mine, you know, sort of being in early with this one. It came in a different pot, so mine's a little bit different. It was a very, very cold day. So we're looking 6, maybe 8 degrees, I think it was. So the panel was cold, my hands were cold, everything was cold. So what I did was just give the wax a little bit of a warming up, just, you know, sort of run your fingertip around it. And it helps with waxes sometimes when it's a little bit colder, just to oil up the surface, just so you can get a good load on your applicator. Once then you're putting it into application, when you're putting it on the paint, I've described this wax as a firm wax. Now, a certain element of that is going to come back down to the temperature. You know, like I say, cold panel, cold day. It spreads really, really well. It spreads for a long, long way. But you did find, or I did find, that there was a little bit of resistance to the applicator as I went. So it wasn't tough. Firm, I think, would be the correct description. It'd be the best way that I would describe it. So, you know, on application, pretty straightforward. Not the easiest one I've ever applied, but, you know, if I kind of said that the easiest wax I'd ever applied was a 10 out of 10, you know, this would be somewhere around about an 8. So it's certainly not difficult. It wasn't a bad wax to apply. Cure time, gave it, well, we had to keep an eye on it on the day because of the temperature. You know, we're sort of trying to give it enough time to cure. I was keeping an eye on it, and I ended up around about 14 minutes, 12 to 14 minutes of cure time before I came to removal. On removal, gave it a quick courtesy swipe with, you know, sort of a plush and a short towel, and found actually that the plush was the way forward for it. When I came to removing it, any sort of hint of grabbiness that was on it on application was gone for cure. It was really, really nice to remove, very, very straightforward. You know, with the bonnet, because condensation was kind of coming down a little bit, took an extra few wipes, but on the wing, really, really straightforward. And I couldn't see any sort of ghosting or hazing from the wax or anything like that. In terms of the finish, it darkened the paint for me, is what I found. It didn't mute the flake, so the flake, the sort of the pop, the vibrancy that was there from sort of the pre-wax with the Magma was still there, which was nice. But I would describe it as a dark, you know, it added a depth to the paint, and it was very, very reflective. And I'll show you in some of the close-ups and the finish shots in just a second. So the finish for me, I actually thought was really very, very good. It was sort of the main standout feature of all of the things until I got to the water behavior. Now I'll show you the water behavior in a second on this one. With any SiO2 wax, you know, ceramic, call it whatever you want, you expect a good water behavior, and this one did not disappoint. It was brilliant on the water behavior. It was so close to those when you're photographing beads, so you got that sort of dome of water on top of the paint, and on darker colours particularly, you get that reflection on the underside, and if you get the beading just right, you get almost that perfect sphere of water, and it was so close. It was so close to that. But yeah, I absolutely loved it. I thought it was an all-round really good performing wax, and durability should be there for it as well. You generally expect that with SiO2 ones as well. Could I give any feedback? Could I say anything could be improved? It's difficult to really say yes, I could. I think the application is just in the nature of it being a ceramic wax, being an SiO2 wax. You tend to find that's in their nature. So could you improve the application? Yes, if you fundamentally change what the wax is, that would be my thoughts there. So I can't even say to tweak that. In terms of the finish, no, nothing to change. In terms of the water behavior, nothing there either. Could it go into full-time production? Absolutely. You know, if Mick at TDG wanted to put this out there and wanted to get it into his range, I think it would sell. I really do. I think that there would be a market for it. And I think a lot of you guys like me that are, you know, wax users, wax collectors, wax whores, whatever you want to call us, I think a lot of us would, be looking to buy something like that and getting sort of the finish, the fit, the performance that this one has the capability of. But yeah, this is all the finished shots. I'll show you the beading just after this, and we've came up with a new term, and this is Team TBD and I, and we feel this is necessary to get this thing to crack on and catch on, but we started calling them Roners. Now, I'm not going to tell you guys quite why. Maybe I will. If enough of you get curious, I'll tell you why. But yeah, just for the Team TBD's benefit, the Roners on this wax, they were tremendous. They were great Roners. But yeah, this is all the water behaviour. This is all the beading. I'm going to put the wax around Team TBD just to get them to sort of have a go and get some reviews for it written up just the same. And then I was thinking, maybe because this is a limited edition wax, maybe a giveaway is in order. Let one of you guys scoop a pot up if you were not lucky enough to buy one when it was available. What I'll do, I'll launch a giveaway sometime soon. I'll do it on Facebook or Instagram or both. I can't quite decide. I'll sort it. But yeah, look at these for beads. The things are round, they're uniform. They were just brilliant. I thought they were fantastic. And, I took some photos. I was proud of them. I put them on Instagram, put them on Facebook. And I think, really Mick and TDG, I think they've done a stellar job. They've done a fantastic wax. The pre-wash I already knew was fantastic anyway. You didn't need me to tell him that. But yeah, look at this. It's brilliant. If you think they should put it in production, if you think this is something you'd be interested in buying, mention it below or mention it to TDG. Message them on Instagram is where they are most active. They have a Facebook page. They're not really on it a great deal. But yeah, if this is something you're interested in buying, annoy them. Tell them to get it into production. That's it. Back to me in the car. Thanks for watching. And finally, we're going to take a look at this homebrew wax from Anthony Ascott. Anthony sent this to me. I wanted a bit of feedback. This is something he's working on before getting into production. So this is reviewed and viewed as a developmental wax. So, certain tweaks, things like that these homebrewers have available to them, he's going to look at. So feedback has already gone back to Anthony, and he's already working and improving, which is a fantastic attitude to have for a homebrewer. I know a lot of these guys, they thrive on feedback and improving and chasing that elusive perfect brew. But why don't you have a look at this, and I'd urge you guys to support the homebrewers, all of them, and with feedback and with sort of helping them develop and giving your input, because they need it. It helps them to improve, get better, and to put something to market, hopefully at some point that is retail worthy. So why don't you check this out? It's the final element of the show, so I'll see you on the final side of this. Enjoy. So, on to the show closer. This is Anthony Ascott's wax. He currently trades under a double A wax. But I think there's going to be possibly a rebrand or, sort of a change of tact with, change of tack. Yeah, I think that's right. Change of tack with what he's doing with his branding. And this was something that he sent along to me to get some feedback on. And like I've just said in the introduction, support the homebrewers, support these guys. The feedback is important to them. And, without that, they might take it in a direction that people don't want. But yeah, the product itself. So turn up to me, nice wide mouth sample jar. If you're going to do samples, I love these ones. They're sort of wide mouth ones, dead easy to sort of use and load the applicator. The first thing that hits you is the scent. So it's a watermelon scented wax. Now I'm very surprised that you don't really have so many watermelon scented waxes out there, particularly so now that I've had a whiff of one, because it smells delicious. But yeah, that was sort of the first thing. I know it's not the main thing, but I love a good stinky wax. I do like that. At first, I kind of, like I did with the TDG one, I ran my finger around sort of the pot, just got the wax to oil up, and it does oil up. You can sort of feel there's oils in it. It felt a little bit tacky between the fingers. It was real sort of odd, almost a little bit gluey between the fingers when I was sort of trying that out. And in terms of then on application, it transferred through to the application stage that it was just a little bit sticky on application. When it came to sort of this door here, what I did is I decided to introduce a damp applicator into the mix and see if it helped. And it certainly helped, a smoother application across the panel, but you could still feel it had a little bit of rub there, a little bit of resistance that was there. I don't brew waxes, that's not my speciality. I don't know whether, sort of making an oilier blend would correct that, but that's something that I've fed back to Anthony already and just said, that would be sort of an area of improvement for me that I think would be worth looking at, because, that helps with the overall impression that you get from a wax. You might get the world's greatest finish, but if you come away with arms like Popeye, that's the bit you remember. You remember the process, that's something that I think could take a tweak. A lot of that grabbiness, it didn't really transfer through to removal. So as a positive there, once it had cured, on removal, I found it easier. So that was nice. A shorter pile towel was sort of what it asked for. But again, normally with a wax, if it's easy to apply, it's easy to remove. So I think if a tweak is sort of made there for application, that should follow through for removal. In terms of the finish, now it did leave a gloss. There was a gloss on the paint, and I was really sort of struggling to put my hands on it. I'd try and quantify what type of finish you get. With certain sort of spray products, some spray sealants and spray waxes, things like that, they use this term a just waxed look. And that's the sort of finish that I kind of want to describe this as. It was a nice gloss. You could tell it was waxed. It wasn't just a cleaned panel. It didn't sort of offer any depth. It was more just, some gloss to the paint. It was a nice finish. It really, really was. But it was sort of one that I struggled to quantify, really past that. So certainly not knocking it for the finish. I think the finish is nice. But it wasn't one of those where it was depth. It was just sort of a nice gloss to the panel. In terms of water behavior, unfortunately, it was kind of punching on the same day as the TDG one, and I know naturally they're completely different waxes. Anthony hasn't told me of any sort of SiO2 in this one. And the water behavior on this one, it was there. It was good. It wasn't as good as the TDG one, but yeah, the beads were there. They were reasonably round. They were quite uniform. It was again sort of a thing that it did well, but again, thing that it could maybe do a little bit better. All in all, in summary, and this is really sort of the great thing with homebrewers, and they're in a position to sort of tweak and change what they do. I would say this: it's a wax that could do with a little bit of refinement on the process, the application, things like that. The finish is going to work for a lot of people. The beading is going to work for a lot of people as well. So it's got the basis of a really good blend there. It just needs a little bit of extra tweaking, a little bit of refinement in some sort of key areas. And I think it will be pretty much good to go from there. Certainly don't change the scent ever. The scent is great. Yeah, that's everything. Back to me one last time in the car. And that was this episode of the Detailing Show. Hope you've enjoyed it. If you have, comment, thumbs up, all of that stuff's below. I appreciate all of it. I really, really do. If you want to share it as well, the Americans are on board. My American viewership's getting bigger month on month. So to my American friends, thank you for being on board and for sharing and enjoying what we do here, my fun little shenanigans. So to them, I say hello. Check back for next week's episode. I've no idea what's on it because I'm driving and I can't remember. But it'll be brilliant, whatever it is. I just can't flat out remember. Thanks very much for watching. See you all soon. Take care. Bye-bye.